हेलो दोस्तों। आज हम सॉफ्ट कंप्यूटिंग का पहला टॉपिक पढ़ने वाले हैं जिसका नाम है आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरल नेटवर्क। और ये वेबसाइट है जिसका नाम है जावा पॉइंट, वहाँ से पढ़ने वाले हैं। जावा टी पॉइंट नाम से है, वहाँ से पढ़ने वाले हैं। और चलो हम पहले टॉपिक की ओर बढ़ते हैं। आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरल नेटवर्क ट्यूटोरियल। आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरल नेटवर्क ट्यूटोरियल प्रोवाइड बेसिक एंड एडवांस कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ एएनएन मतलब आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरल नेटवर्क। और artificial neural network tutorial developed for beginner as well as professions. Professions. The term artificial neural network refer to biological inspirations, a field of intelligence modeled after the brain. An artificial in, artificial neural network is usually a computational network based on biological neurons network which that con, contract contract the structure of the human brain. Similar to human brain has neurons interconnected to each other. Artificial neural network also have a neurons that are linked to each other in various layer of the network. Those neurons are known as nodes. Artificial neural network tutorial cover all the aspects of related to artificial neural network. In this tutorial, we discuss ANN, adaptive resource theory, coherence, self-organization, mind map, building blocks, unsupervised learning, genetic algorithm, etc. What is artificial neural network? The term artificial neural network is derived from biological neurons network that develop the structure of a human brain. Similar to the human brain that have neurons interconnected to one's another. Artificial neural network also has a neurons that are interconnected to each one another in various layer of a network. Those neurons are known as a node. Dendrite called nucleus, axon, face. Give the figure illustrates the type diagram of a biological neural network. A type of artificial neural network looks something like a figure. इनपुट लेयर होती है, इसमें फिर हिडन लेयर होती है, नोड्स भी होते हैं, न्यूरॉन्स और वाई आउटपुट dendrites from biological neurons network represent input in artificial neural network called nucleus represents nodes, and symphonies represent weight, axon represent output. Relation between biological neural network and artificial neural network. Biological neural network में डेंड्रिट्स होते हैं, इनमें इनपुट होते हैं, सेल न्यूक्लियस होती है, इसमें नोड्स होते हैं, सेम सेस होता है, इसमें वेट होता है, एक्सोन होता है, इसमें आउटपुट होता है. द आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरल नेटवर्क इन द फील्ड ऑफ आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंट वेयर इट अटेम्प्ट टू मिमिक द नेटवर्क ऑफ neurons make up a human brain, so the computer will have a option to understand thing and make decision in human like manner. The artificial neural network is designed by programming computers to behavior simply like interconnected brain cells. There are around 10 100,000 billions neurons in the human mind. Each neurons have a associate point to somewhere in the range of 1,000 to 1 lakh in the human brain. Data is stored in such a manner as to be distributed. We can extract more than one piece of this data when necessary from one memory. Parallelly, we can say that human brain is made up of incredibility amazing parallel processing. We can understand the artificial neural network with example. Consider a example of a digital logic gate that keeps an input give a output, or gate which takes two input. If one or both input are on, then we get on it output. If both input are off, then we get off in output. Here the output depends up to input. Our brain does not perform the same task. The output to input relationship keep changing because of neurons in our brain which are learning architecture of neural network. To understand the concept of architecture of new architecture of artificial neural network, we have to understand what is the mm, neuro neurological network, numerical network contain of the in order to define the numerical network that contains of the large number of artificial neurons which are termed unit arranged in sequence of layers. Let us look at various type of layers available in artificial neural network. Artificial neural network probably constant of three layers: इनपुट लेयर, हिडन लेयर, ये दोनों, फिर आउटपुट लेयर. Input layer, as the name of suggests, it accepts input in several fields formats provided by the programmer. Hidden layer, the hidden layer present in between input and output layer. It's perform all calculates to the finding hidden feature and pattern. Output layer, the input goes through a series of transformation using the hidden layer, which finally result in output that is conveyed using this layer. The artificial neural network takes input and compute the weight sum of the input and include a bias. This computational is represented in the form of transfer function. uh, a transfer function formula is determine weight total in past as in input to a activation functions to produce the output. Activation functions choose whether a node should fire or not. Only those who are fired make it to the output layer. There are distributive activation functions available that can be applied up to sort of the task we can performing. Advantage of the artificial neural network. ANN artificial neural network have a numerical value that can perform more than one task simulation, storing data on entire network. Data that is used to traditional programming is stored on full network, not on database. The disappearance of the couple of piece of data in one place don't prevent the network from working. Capability to working with incomplete knowledge. After ANN training, information may produce output even with inadequate data. The loss of the performance has rely upon the significance of missing data. Heavy a memory distribution for ANN is to be able to adapt it is important to determine the example to encourage the network according to the desired output by monitoring those example to the network. The sessions on the network is directly proportional to the choice instance. If the event cannot appears to the network in all its aspect, it can produce fail output. Having fault tolerance, extraordination of one or more cells of ANN does not prohibit it from generating output. It make feature makes the network fault tolerance disadvantage of artificial neural network. Up assure, assurance of proper network structure. There are no particular guideline for determining the structure of artificial neural network. The appropriate network structure is establishment through experience, trial, error, unrecognized behavior of a network. It is most significant issue of ANN. When ANN produce a testing solution, it does not provide inside concurrency while have its decreased trust in the network hardware dependency. Artificial neural network need processes with parallel processing power as per their structure. Therefore, realization of equipment in independent difficultly of showing the issue to the network. ANN can work with numerical data. Problems must be converted in numerical value before being introduced to ANN, and the presentation mechanism to be restored here will directly impact the performance of a network. Its relay user's ability duration of the network is unknown. The network is reduced to a specific value of error, and this value does not give us optimization result. Science of artificial neural networks that have been steeped into the world into mid 20th century are exponentially developing. In the present time, we have investing the prawns of the artificial neural network and issue in coordination in the courses of their utilization. It should not overlooked that the cons of the ANN network, which are flourishing science branch, are eliminated individual and their pawns are increasing day by day. It's mean the artificial neural will be turned into the irreplaceable part of our life's progressive importance. How artificial neural network work? Artificial neural network can be best represent a weight directed graph where the artificial neurons from nodes associated between the neurons output neurons input can be viewed as the directed edge with a weight. Artificial neural network receive the input signal from the external source in the form of platform image in the form of vector. Those input are then mathematically assigned by the notation x, and for every n number of input hidden layer, input layer, and output layer. Afterward, each of the input in multiplied by its corresponding weight. Those weights are the detailed utilization by the artificial neural network to solve a specific problem. In general terms, those weights normally represent a strength of the interconnected connection between neurons inside the artificial neural network. All the weight input are summarized inside the computing unit. If the weight sum is equal to 0, then bias is added to make the output non-zero or something else to uh, scale up to systems response bias as same input and weight equal to 1. Here total of weighted input can be in a range of 0 to positive infinity. Here to keep the response in the limit of the desired value, a certain maximum value is benchmark. The total of weighted input is passed through the activation function. Activation function refer to set of transfer function used to achieve desired output. There are different kind of activation function, but primarily either linear or non-linear set of the functions. Some of the commonly used set of activation function are binary, linear, 10 hyperbolic, sigmoid activation function. Let's take a look at each of them in detail. Binary. In binary activation function, the output is either 1 or 0. Here the place this there is a threshold value set up. If the net weighted input of neurons is more than 1, then final output of activation function is returned as 1, or else output is returned to 0. Sigmoid hyperbolic, the sigmoid hyperbola function is generally seen as the S shape of curves. Here the 10 hyperbolic function is used to approximate output from the actual net input. The function is defined as fn 1 by 1 plus expression x, where x considered the steepness parameter. Types of artificial neural network. There are various type of artificial neural network. ANN depends upon the human brain and neurons network function, and artificial neural network similar to perform tasks. The majority of artificial neural network will have some similarity with more complex biological parameter. pair partners and very efficient at their accepted task. For example, sigmoid for classification feedback ANN. In this type of ANN, output return into the network of accomplish the best evaluation result internal as per the University of Association Law Center of Atmospheric Research. The feedback network feed information back into itself are well suited to solve optimization issue, the internal issue, error correctness, utilize feedback, ANN's feedback, ANNA feedback, if feed forward network, it basically neurons network comparing of input layer or output layer, at least one layer of neurons through assignment of its output by reviewing its input. The inside of the network can be noted based on the group behavior of association network. The output is decided. The primary advantage of this neural network is figure out how to evaluate and recognize input parameter prerequisite. No specific need to prerequisite before the starting the total audience over artificial neural tutorial is developed for beginner as well as professional to help away.